Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit with Yankee. I am, as usual, Yankee, so let's start shooting. Tonight's topic is kind of a continuation of a topic we did the other day when we talked about how to drastically reduce school shootings. In that video, we discussed arming teachers, but we just kind of glossed over it. And a lot of people responded to that in the comment section. So I thought today we would actually go over whether it's actually a good idea or not to arm teachers in schools. Let them be the first line of defense. Or should we have, dedicated security in schools? Well, here are my opinions on this. It is great to have dedicated security in schools, especially well-trained security that aren't cowards and won't refuse to go in when there's trouble, unlike some of them do and some police do. But that's not very feasible when it comes to money. We can't really afford a lot of extra security guards in schools. However, a lot of schools have resource officers. They have people that walk around. No, I'm not talking the police officers. I'm talking the guys you see walking around with walkie-talkies that volunteer during the week to help, like with school lunches and stuff. Because if you've ever been to your kid's school during the day, you see like a lot of teachers on their free period are out in the school hallways. Sometimes it's volunteers from parents, etc. And, they help make things happen. And it would be great to be able to have those people be properly trained, which wouldn't be hard, and be carrying. But as far as arming teachers, I do think it's a good idea. Now, do I think it's a good idea? Some people say things like, well, let's arm all of them. They should all have to be armed. Well, no. It should always be on a volunteer basis, because I don't think anybody should have to take on that responsibility of having a firearm if they don't want to. But I guarantee you there are teachers in every school that would want to. And there's probably teachers in every school that are very experienced with firearms, either through their own upbringing and their own lifestyle or military, etc. There's lots of teachers that have been trained. And I don't want to stress training too much, because when you stress training too much, you kind of feed into that narrative that guns are such a hard thing to use and they're so dangerous that people have to be highly trained to use them. When I say training, I just mean basically, how do you keep the gun secured? When do you actually use the gun? How do you access the gun? Those are the most important things. Then some basic marksmanship is always some nice training, some nice practice. But I think the things teachers would need to learn the most is, how are we going to go about keeping these guns safe when they're not being used? Where will they be? How will they be accessible? Who can access them? Is it biometric? Is it what? We'd have to come up with things like that. Because there's always going to be some bad elements in schools. If the kids knew where the gun was and had access to it, they'd probably steal it. We got some real criminals in schools nowadays. So like I said, as long as the teacher was willing and wanted to, I think we should actually provide the gun. Should it be their own personal gun? Well, if they want to do that, that's fine. But I think it should be a gun that's in either specific locations in the school that are only accessible to the teachers through, like I said, lock and key, biometrics, etc. And a teacher should at least have a fighting chance. I couldn't imagine being a teacher in a school and someone breaks in and starts shooting and you have to start doing okay, everybody, get on the floor and play dead, or go into the closet and let's hope he doesn't open the closet door. I couldn't imagine that. And I think arming the teachers is not the end all be all, though, of protecting students, because I think it's got to be part of a bigger plan. Like schools that have exits to the outdoors, get out and go. Maybe secure rooms. If you want to have closets in classrooms, well, make them to where they're fortified, to where even if they get in there and lock the door, ain't nobody getting in, even shooting their way in. Things like that. The safety of our children isn't just a one-step solution, and arming teachers is definitely not that step, but it is one we should take. Schools should have the option, if a teacher wants to be properly prepared to deal with a shooting. Now, do I think it's necessary? Like, do we need legislation, etc.? Not really, because here's the thing. School shootings are very rare. They don't happen very often. And some people would say, well, if the guns are going to be in schools, since school shootings are so rare, it might be more likely that gun gets misused, or someone has an accident, someone gets harmed because the guns were in the schools. And that is a reality. So that has to be taken into account. because the only time you could say, well, they definitely have to be there is if you have to try to pretend that's definitely going to happen, which it isn't going to happen to most people. So it is an argument that can be made, and it's a discussion that needs to be had. And I do think it's a good idea for teachers that are willing and capable for them to have the ability to defend themselves and their students. Because here's the thing, we see cops all the time stand outside the classroom as kids are being killed. I think teachers actually care about the kids more than the police do. Teachers haven't spent their whole career being taught it's me or them, and it's going to be me. I'm going to be the one that survives. No, they care about the kids. I think they would be more likely to sacrifice themselves for the kids. So I think they'd be a better defense than police. But like I said, they're not going to be the main defense or the end-all be-all defense. It's a multi-step performance here, or program you would have to implement to try to keep kids safe. And it would be expensive. That's why a lot of people argue against it. But, these are kids. I think they're worth it. So that's what I think of the subject. So let me go over here and see if anybody else has weighed in on the topic here. Uncle Renach, I don't know who that is. Been watching for years. Thank you for the consistent content and all your wisdom. Well, I don't know about wisdom. Experience. I share my experiences with people. Casey Two Gun says, keep it simple, stupid. Get rid of gun-free zones. Well, yeah, there shouldn't be any gun-free zones because gun-free zones don't work. That's like saying this is a crime-free zone. You can't commit crimes here. And then the bad guys will be like, fuck, I wanted to commit a crime here. Can't do it because of the sign, of course. So, yeah, that is very, very, very stupid. And here's another thing. If it wasn't gun-free zones, maybe parents who definitely care about their kids, maybe they want to come in and take a day where they're the resource officer of the day. Maybe they're licensed, they carry, or they're experienced, whatever. They're going to come walk around the hallways during the day with their radio and their firearm on their side and on a volunteer basis to help. That's one thing that could be looked at too. So I believe that would be a great thing. Mark Cutler chimed in here and says, just wanted to support the channel. Well, that didn't cover the topic, but I do appreciate the support because we definitely need it. But it looks like no one's weighing in tonight. I guess no one has an opinion on this topic. So we will move on here and get on with the show. I want to say thanks to everybody for showing up tonight and the one or two people that participated. I appreciate it. We'll have another conversation tomorrow, so feel free to come to our live chats. They're every night at 6 p.m., except for Wednesdays when they're at 7 p.m. I'd love to hear what you all have to say. If you've got any topics you'd like to hear me cover, just send them in to me. Just send them to shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com and say chat topic in the subject line, and I'll try to get to them, especially if it's a good topic. So like I said, thanks to everybody for coming. Thanks for listening. Thanks to those who participated. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.